Hi folks, and welcome to this brand new edition of Tech Talk here on the Cisco Support Committee. Today we'll talk about introduction to Cisco's Identity Services Engine, also called as ISE. Whether you need to support BYOD work practices or provide more secure access to your data center resources, the Cisco ISE can help you. With this all-in-one enterprise policy control platform, you can reliably enforce compliance, enhance infrastructure security, and simplify services operations. To talk more on the same, our expert joining me today is Gaurav Sharma, a senior software engineer with Cisco. He has wide experience in network security technologies and has worked on multiple vendor platforms. Gaurav holds specialist level certification in Cisco IPS, iOS security, and firewall, and he is also a Checkpoint certified security administrator. Prior to this, he was part of the backbone team in TAG, and now he is involved in R&D team of the product ISE here at Cisco. Welcome to the Tech Talk, Gaurav.
Thanks, Tish. Good to be here today.
Great. So, Gaurav, what's up with the network security today? What's new?
Borderless network is on my mind these days. We are dealing with the challenges brought to us from the sophisticated network these days. We are all getting into the borderless network, so it brings a lot more challenges to the network security administrators.
So, what's new about the borderless network?
As the name suggests, the facility and the capability to connect any device at any time to anything, any resource is what the borderless network is approaching to. And as the technology evolves, everyone is moving and trying to adopt the borderless network so that there is no foundation to access the resources. Like you were accessing maybe mails from your iPad. So such kind of things it is a great facility. But I would say, as it's a great facility, the network is becoming sophisticated, so is the network security threats to the networks. So we're just trying to make sure that only the people with the right, so anyone whosoever is connecting, only the right person with a supported device connects to the network in an appropriate way. And to enable that, we are working on the product also called as Identity Services Engine, Cisco ISE, to make sure that no one comes to our network without our permission.
So I've heard a lot about ISE, and I was talking to one of my friends who's a security network administrator.
Yeah.
So he was telling me that ISE is an advanced version of ACS, but he was not sounding very confident. So can you tell me more about the solution that it offers?
Yeah, well, your friend is partially correct, I would say, because ISE is a consolidated policy solution. It actually consolidates the functional capabilities of Cisco ACS and Cisco NAC, which are the existing solutions for network security these days. So what ISE does is it combines the functional capabilities of both of them, and apart from that, it actually gives you more features, cool features like BYOD, bring your own device concept. It enables the BYOD concept. It enables the TrustSec, and it enables the MDM, the mobile device management. And people have been asking me about what are the advantages of having ISE to your network, how can it solve the problem of network security and all. So I would say, as ISE is a consolidated solution, it actually combines the capabilities of the existing solution, so it makes the job of a network security administrator a lot more easier. You can just have one device or one solution instead of having many solutions in your network to perform a specific kind of actions. And then with the help of ISE, you can track what's coming to your network, what kind of devices are coming to your network, is the user authorized to access what he's accessing in your network. So it's a help for the network security administrators to have a granular approach and a granular tracking to the network and make sure that no malicious kind of activities are happening to the network. And beyond that, there are a lot of things like ISE is, in itself is it actually defines different components, wherein every component would be serving a specific purpose. So that makes a lot more easier that when you have such kind of environment, when one device or maybe one node is performing some specific kind of actions, it is a very easy for me being a network security administrator. I would know that, okay, if I need to check something, that something is coming to my network, I need to check the reports. I need to just take a look at this thing, this specific service which is running to my network. So this is a very kind of granular and composed way to solve the problems which are there for network security these days. And beyond that, you would have heard of TrustSec these days. So it actually enables the TrustSec as well, wherein you are filtering the traffic not on the basis of the IP addresses, but on the basis of the tagging which is happening to the packets or we can say the users which are coming. So it identifies that, and it actually tags it to a specific category. And instead of putting filters for the IP addresses, which is getting very difficult to have filters on IP-based connections, we have the filters on the basis of the tags which are there. And also we have just to keep a track of everything, we have system-wide monitoring and troubleshooting option within ISE, wherein from one point it's a centralized management, right? So you can, from one point, you can see, but you can control the whole network, even though the devices are deployed or different personas are deployed in your network performing some specific tasks. But you can actually, from one centralized management, you can check what kind of reports are there and what kind of troubleshooting is required to be done. So these are the advantages of having ISE to your network, which I think is very cool.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So can you tell us more about the ISE and how does this work and what solutions or components are involved in it?
Yeah, sure. Actually, ISE is composed. There are five more very important components within ISE, right? So we have PAP, that is Policy Administration Point, PDP, which is Policy Decision Point, Policy Enforcement Point, and Policy Information Point, and of course MNT, that is the Monitoring and Troubleshooting to manage everything there. So I will talk more about it, and I'll show you how this works in a typical scenario, talking about the architecture of Cisco ISE. So what happens is that when something tries to connect to your network, it comes from PEP, right? So it is actually a policy enforcement point, wherein it could be any device, right? It could be a WLC wireless controller, or it could be a Cisco switch. It depends upon the way you're trying to connect to the network. It could be a .1x, it could be MAB, it could be a wireless connection, it could be wired. So on the basis of that, the traffic, or maybe a user would try to come into the network. Now, when it comes to the network, it goes to the policy decision point, wherein the policies are pushed from policy administration point. So you configure all the policies on PAP, policy administration point, you configure all the policies there, you push that to the PDP. So it's a kind of enforcement module. So PDP would do the actual job. It will either filter the traffic, or it will allow it, or maybe put it into a quarantine role. So, and then it comes, we have this policy PIP as well, right? So what we want to do is we want to make sure that sometimes the users would want to authenticate the users from an external database, the external authentication database. Someone would be using Active Directory or something like that. So PIP is the interface from which it retrieves those information and gives that to the PDP to make sure whether to allow this user or to put to give what kind of authorization level to this specific user. And there is a very important component, which is MNT. You want to make sure that whatever is happening is getting logged, and you want to make sure that basically you want to make sure that everything is being tracked, whatever is coming to your network. So Cisco MNT would actually check and make sure that it will form the data or form all the information it will categorize into forms of reports. So we've got like 35 kind of reports. So you can make sure that was it an authentication error or it was a successful authentication. So basically what happened to my network and who tried to access to my network and what did he do. So you can just make sure that you come to my network, you do some funky stuff, not allowed, sir. So that kind of thing is there. So it's a kind of overview of the whole architecture of Cisco ISE.
Right. So talking about licenses, what kind of licenses are required for this?
Yeah, so that is a very good question, Satish. People would be very much worried. I've been asked this question a lot of time. Okay, I can deploy ISE, but what kind of license is required? You know, is it just one license which can happen? So I would say there are two kind of licenses which are there. One is base license and one is advanced. So you want to make sure that what do I allow on my network? If you're talking about the features, right? So that's when you get the base license, and you get the features like .1x, you get the device verification, you get the session directory, agent management, and ID inventory ID reporting. So these kind of features are there. But going a step beyond that, you want to make sure that are my network endpoints secure? So because it's all about security, right? So you go for the advanced license, which will give you profiling, health compliance, infection detection, device classification, and security group access. So these are the two kind of licenses which we have, and we recommend to have advanced license to use all the functionality of Cisco ISE.
Yeah, that helps. So talking about deployments, how can we deploy ISE into our networks?
Yep. So it really depends upon the requirement, right? Mm-hmm. So if some people would go for the distributed environment, which is generally a recommended thing because every persona is going to do a specific job, like we discussed about PAP and PDP and MNT. So so one system would be performing one specific kind of operation, right? So we want to make sure that whatever comes to my network is going through few checks, and then the sessions are getting recorded at many places. So you can have a standalone box as well. So in VMware, you can install that in a virtual machine, or we have our specific appliances as well. Or initially we had the old NAC boxes. If they have enough memory required for Cisco ISE, you can install that your ISE package on the NAC boxes itself. Mm-hmm. And talking about the distributed environment, what you're going to do is, say, I talk about the VMware, the virtual, you make the virtual machines, and then one persona is going to do MNT. One persona is going to do administration. One is going to do it's going to take the decision. So it makes kind of your job more granular, right? So you know that when you go to this persona, you're just going to create the policies. You need to check that what happened to the network. Go to MNT. You go to MNT and you see what kind of reports are there. So I've seen that people would go for distributed environment because it makes the job a lot more easier, and it's easier for the network administrator to manage the whole network together and see what all is coming to my network as a network security threat.
Mm-hmm. So you talked about some of the features. So can you tell me how these features are useful for customers, in specifically how ISE plays a role in BYOD?
Yeah. Well, ISE is like the heart of BYOD. So ISE, so BYOD is like a concept wherein everyone is trying to adopt, and they've said that, I was reading somewhere, it's saying maybe down the line it's going to be a mandatory thing for all the organization to have BYOD, because it saves money as well, because you're getting your own devices, it will not cost that, the money will not be on the company, right? So you're getting your own devices. But in order to make sure that that whatever is coming to your network, and you need to track, right? So that's when the functional capabilities of NAC will also come into picture. So you have an iPad, you come to office, right? But and you want to access the same resources which you do from your office provided laptop, right? So, but as a network security administrator, I want to make sure that your device does not contain something which is not as per my security compliance of this company. And maybe we can talk about, say, for example, I have a specific version of antivirus as a security compliance of my company, and I want to make sure that whatever comes to my network should have that person, or maybe that
particular antivirus.
That's right. So how to check that? So there is a posture which happens So posture validation happens when something comes to your network. So it will actually check about all those things, and it will see, is the device compliant to what is configured by the security administrator? What is the, maybe, what are the compliance policies? Is it something which is not there? So now if something is not there, maybe your antivirus is outdated. So what's going to happen? It is the administrator can actually, it's up to him. Maybe he wants to put it, he just wants to deny the access from that device to anything in the network, or maybe he wants to put that in a quarantine role for the remediation. So when I say remediation, say that you have an outdated version of antivirus and you want to get into my network. So what I'm going to do is I'll just give you access to specific websites, say the website of McAfee. Maybe the McAfee is the antivirus running in your network.
So that is a prompt.
Yeah.
That is a prompt that I'll be getting.
So yeah, so you'll just get the limited access. So once you have your latest antivirus, then that's when it says the posture validation will happen again, and we'll see, okay, now this complies. So now we can get in because you comply my security policies. You can come into my network. So that kind of thing. And also we have profilers. We use so many probes. So probes is like a specific kind of query which is made by ISE to the devices coming to your network. So on the basis of, it could be DHCP span or a net scan. So many kind of probes are there on the basis of which it actually categorizes the device. Say you bring your iPad, or maybe you bring your Android device. On the basis of those specific probes, ISE would know that, okay, there is an iPad which came to my network, or maybe Android phone came to my network. Even that, going beyond that, which version of iPad is it? So we can know that. So once we know what exactly is on network, then we can make sure that these devices don't do anything wrong to my network.
Right.
So this is what basically a holistic view of how the BYOD will work. You come to my network, you have to you are profiled. First of all, you're profiled so that we know what's coming to your network. So if you're trying to come as maybe you try to show that you are maybe a printer coming to my network, and then you start acting like a web camera, which could be a security threat to my company, right? I'm just going to throw that device out of my network. So this kind of management, right? And BYOD, apart from that, we have SGA, Secure Group Access. This is a very cool technology, and I mean, this is the best thing to happen, I would say, because you are actually filtering the traffic on the base of tags which are assigned to the packets which are coming to your network. So it happens on layer 2. So IP would be layer 3, right? Even getting to the layer 3, we're filtering the traffic at layer 2 itself. So we specify a specific tags on the incoming traffic to the network. Say something coming from, just an example, something coming from 10.10.10. network, or maybe coming from this site. We've got 2 sites in, there are 2 sites of your office, 2 branches, right? One here, one in US. So one, I would say, when something comes from US, you can put it a tag as US. So that we know that this traffic is coming from US. So, and we can be very granular about that. So you don't want the traffic coming from US maybe to hit some specific sites here in India, or maybe vice versa, right? Some specific network, you don't want to access something which is there in US tagged, right? So we create SGACLs. So all so SGACL would filter the traffic on the basis of these tags, whether it's permitted or it's allowed, it will do that. But all these policies, these tags, these ACLs are configured on Cisco ISE, which are pushed back to the network. You can use Nexus, and also I was checking, even ASA also supports TrustSec these days, but there's a long way to go on about that. But yeah, so we can actually configure ISE to be a TrustSec compliant network, and then it can push all the policies to the network, and so that this kind of filtering will happen. And I was talking about the MDM as well, mobile device management. It is also a kind of subset of BYOD itself, wherein you can have a database of the whole mobile devices come into your network. Say it's a iPad or an Apple phone or Android device. So you have the database. So you want to push a policy to all the mobile devices? Go ahead and do that. You just want to make sure there's something. Maybe if you're an employee and you leave the company, but you still registered here, and maybe once you go out, you want to take some information out of here, but Cisco ISE will make sure that if something is going out of the network, they'll actually push the policies so that they cannot access something beyond that, after you're terminated. So it can manage the session to which you can connect, and it can actually manage the duration also till the time you will be connecting. So I put a policy that Satish won't be connecting after 6 p.m. to my network. So after 6 p.m., if you try, you will not be able to connect. So these all things are done through ISE and MDM. So it's all consolidated. It's one thing leads to another, and then it becomes a whole secure network.
Right, a lot of controls.
Yeah, a lot of controls.
I think this is awesome info. And I'm sure I'll go back to my friend and I'll clear his confusion about it.
Yeah, sure, you should do that.
I think that is really excellent info. And thanks for joining us today. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure was mine too.
Thank you. So hope this Tech Talk on Cisco ISE was useful to you, and we look forward to your feedback. You can send in your feedback using the comment section. You may also ask questions and collaborate via various social media channels. You can also catch us on YouTube, Google+, and LinkedIn. And interestingly, you can download the latest version of mobile app, version 3.2, by searching for Cisco Technical Support from within the iTunes, Google Play, or BlackBerry app stores, or directly from one of the links that will be provided in the blog. Goodbye, and thank you for watching.